What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Broodwar ladder battle. Today we're going to do something a little bit unorthodox. We got Flash versus PARALYZE. And then after this game, we're going to take a look at Speed versus PARALYZE. Do a little comparing, contrasting, see the difference in styles and how they match up with PARALYZE, who is a 2500 Protoss player. Is like 25, 40, something like that. He's number 40 on the ladder, is what I definitely remember. So a strong player for sure. He is a regular in the CNSL, the Caster Muse Narok Star League, and K League, as well as other small tournaments, but not quite as accomplished as Speed, either of these two guys, Speed or Flash, of course. He's going to be opening up with a gateway. This game on Deja Vu, we're watching Flash first. And he hasn't opened up with the gasless fast expand. I'm very curious if we're going to see Flash use gasless when he starts to compete in tournaments again. I think that it seemed to be his style for a long time. When he was first coming back, he liked it a lot, but he seems to have switched things up after playing on the ladder for a little bit. Maybe he's just adding this to his arsenal, seeing how games like this turn out, and then he'll eventually go back to gasless fast expand as his go-to build. Or maybe he's found a build that works a bit better for him, something that will give him more longevity, or will give him a better chance of winning a wider range of different games versus Protoss. Let's see. It doesn't seem to match up very well against Nexus first, but hasn't gone for Nexus first here. PARALYZE opens up with the Dragoon, no range into Nexus, and he's now going to scout the front. Sees 3 Marines, unfortunately loses his probe and doesn't catch the incoming SCV either. Oh, maybe with the probe he can help to shut that down, and he will prevent that from getting in, but the timing on the Nexus has been seen. Range is going to start now for PARALYZE, and the first Vulture is out on the map now for Flash. Got to be careful with this first Dragoon. I think as soon as he sees the Vulture, he will pull everything back. See when more gateways or a Robo ends up getting added. Seems like he wants to add the Robo. Just gonna poke at the front. 3 Marines are gonna do a great job of pushing that first Dragoon away. Mines are on the way. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this is a problem, I'd say. The second Dragoon left. Second Dragoon left the main base and opened up a pathway for this Vulture to get in. Looks like he gets 3 probes. Pretty big damage in this early game. You can see the difference between these two in terms of overall workers. That was a very big blunder out of PARALYZE, thinking that he had the Dragoon there in time to not let a Vulture slip out, when in fact a Vulture was already on the map. And so he gets punished brutally. He's also spotted everything that's going on in the Protoss main base. So with a 5 worker advantage already in this game. Oh god, and a Dragoon just walks right in. What am I looking at here? Is this a broken replay, or is PARALYZE just messing this up? How do you get to 2500 by playing like this? Oh yeah, play Protoss. That's right. I forgot. Excuse me, boys. Excuse my ignorance. Gateway coming up, and he's continuing to fill out this wall. No third base just yet. We're almost at the 6-minute mark. Second factory on the way, but he went right into armory off of single factory, realizing that this is probably going to be the safest play to just get himself as far ahead as possible. Not going to risk a push right now. Just get those upgrades rolling. and work on upping that factory count shortly. I don't see any extra buildings in this main base, so I don't think there's going to be a Reaver coming. That means just pure Dragoon production, which is excellent at stopping a push, but it's not very good at breaking into a base if Flash just wants to sit here. Third is on the way at a pretty good timing. 6 minutes 30. If Flash just sits and defends, his position won't be too bad, but it might get a little bit out of hand. Oh gosh, Dragoon's just gonna run straight in here, targeting down a couple of tanks. He gets 2 tanks for what, 1 Dragoon? Oh my goodness. This is all because the tanks didn't have siege mode. Otherwise, he never would have attempted that. He wanted to get his Charon booster upgrade before siege mode, which is a bit crazy. Now there's a lot of tanks up here, and he might be able to gun down this tank on high ground. Oh, okay. Sorry, a lot of Dragoons, excuse me. Now he knows that there's an observer for sure. Losing 2 tanks is very rough. More factories are going to come up. 5 factories total. And that +1 is getting close to done. Running forward here. He's going to try and gun down that tank. Oh my gosh, he almost gets it. Oh my gosh, could he actually go for that tank? It's in the back. Will he get it? One more shot. He does pick off that tank. Losing 3 more Dragoons, but with 3 escaping and only 1 tank in this army, I think that's fine. I do believe Paralyze is going to start to pull ahead a little bit in this game, especially once he gets this Reaver out. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. A few lost tanks will slow down the push by an incredible amount. He's gonna... What are these doing? Pushing out, looking for maybe those 3 Dragoons that were sitting out in front earlier. They've been sent all the way back home. 6 factory. All right, I think it might be Flash just deciding to go all in, perhaps. It's unlikely that you're gonna see a 6 factory transition into a 3rd base, although it can happen. You can take a 3rd base behind this, but you have to stop production for a second. Or at least a little bit, so that you can build up the 400 or the minerals to actually... Oh my gosh, he almost loses that. Almost loses that shuttle. 400 minerals. You need to put out that command center. It's going to eat into your factory build time. You're just not going to be able to continuously produce vultures that entire time. So it'll lower the chances of this attack actually working, but maybe he still wants to do it anyway. Looks like he's waiting. Yeah, he's gonna... Well, maybe not. Okay, turret on the way. I was expecting a CC, but there's a turret coming up. More gateways. But the same number of gateways as there are factories is not a great sign. Does have a second Reaver though now. However, with the Goliaths, you might just be able to gun down that Reaver immediately. Let's see how this push goes. It's gonna have to be executed perfectly from Flash. Otherwise, those Reavers will rip things apart very quickly. See, these Reavers haven't done anything so far. I've only sat in the shuttle and just about died, in fact, in that shuttle, that same shuttle. Another probe heads down to bottom right. He's gonna maybe set up a pylon wall here and try to take this base. Flash is waiting for +1 armor to come up. And continuing to just build a massive count of vultures and tanks in preparation for this push. You see, he's not even mining off of this gas, which is kind of interesting. He's got enough gas to non-stop produce these tanks off of 2 factories, and everything else is going into vultures. All the rest is just minerals. So he is really optimizing for this next push. If it doesn't work out though, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Leg enhancements is on the way. +1 attack is coming up as well, but it's a little bit behind. where the +1 armor is. And so I think we're gonna see, we're actually gonna see a drop into the main right before this push is ready to go. If you I think the best would be to target some of these oh gosh, okay. We're gonna pick up, juggle the Reavers just a little bit more. Could even pick up again now. Maybe go into the mineral line. No, just gonna back out with that one Reaver with 5 HP on the shuttle. Everything gonna unsiege, and I don't think there's enough damage done. He barely did anything to this attack, or to this main base. And Flash has been gearing up this whole time for one massive attack. So if he gets situated on this high ground, it's gonna be very hard to break that push. Dropping out some Zealots and Reavers. Oh, he's gonna target down the Reaver with the Vultures there and does a good job of it. Now he's dropping some Zealots in the backline, but the Dragoons don't have any cover. No Zealots in this fight, so the tanks will unsiege and push forward once again. A heavily optimized game here from Flash. This push is looking incredibly scary. He's evened out the supply. More Zealots are going to come in, but now there are some Goliaths in the mix. No, this is an amazing drop on top. An amazing drop on top of these tanks. Is actually going to clear most of them. He's targeting down tanks now with his Dragoons. Running low on those, though. A lot of them getting splattered by that tank fire of the upcoming tanks. Those reinforcements arrive just in the nick of time, and so Flash will continue to push forward. There's nothing in this natural now, and the Vultures can start to run by. Yeah, nothing left here for Paralyze, and he taps out. GG. Interesting stuff from Flash. Very funny to see him build the second refinery. He only mined, what is this? 500 mineral or 500 gas off of that? No, he mined 1,500 gas out of that extractor, that refinery, and then pulled off. And was just optimizing his minerals perfectly to get out as many units as was entirely possible. I wonder if it would be a good idea for him to get a CC behind this. It seems like he was just banking everything on this attack. So maybe that's not the case. Maybe another factory, maybe 7 factory. It really does seem like he's got enough income for it. Anyways, guys, that's it for our Flash versus Paralyzed game. Very convincing win here from Flash. Let's see how Speed does against this Protoss player. The ape-like tactics, not able to save Paralyzed in that last game. He took a bit too much damage from that first Vulture slipping in, killing a bunch of probes. And even just running forward and gunning down tanks wasn't going to be enough to bring him back in this game. Or in that game. Now we have Speed in bottom right on Minstrel. Same matchup, different map. Similar builds going on for these players, though. However, Gas Steel on a 2-player map. A highly effective strategy, I would say. Very strong way to open as the Protoss. I've seen Speed a lot recently, putting his SCV on the ramp to actually prevent things like this from happening. And by the way, this matchup was played on the 4th of January, whereas the one with Flash was played, oh, actually on the 4th as well. So both these games were played on the 4th of January 2025. It's gonna take me a minute to get used to saying that, but 2025 is already here, and we're getting into the swing of things with some Flash being back. I think this is the year when Flash comes fully back into the meta, and he is that impactful in the meta that you kind of have to mention that. You have to note that this is the Flash era in the SSL part of Broodwar. It's been a while since we've seen him. He hasn't been impacting the meta for quite some time, unless it's been behind the scenes. It's something that we haven't heard about. But from now on, everything he does will be studied by players in the game, trying to figure out what's the best way to counter the newest builds. They'll be looking to Flash to figure that out. Now, Speed, I think he's a player who kind of walks his own path. And that's why I'll still be looking to him for new information, for new strategies that he'll be coming up with. A very sexy player indeed. Speed, also known as Sexy. Gonna be keeping this SCV alive, playing a bit of Ring Around the Rosie. Will eventually get caught by the probes. There it is. Does go down. What is the follow-up? He wasn't able to see Cybernetics Core, and it is not range just yet. Although it could be. No, it will be robotics. So last game, PARALYZE opened nearly the same way. This time he tried to make a zealot. In fact, 2 zealots. Last time he waited for a dragoon, and he went for range right off the bat. This time he's getting a faster gateway, and he's getting the robotics facility before range, which means his range will be significantly delayed. However, this is a gaseous fast expand from Speed, and so I think he's going to be absolutely fine. There's no sort of early push that can come. The only thing is he will not be able to punish the bunker. He's not going to be able to chip away and force the repair. Instead, he'll be looking for damage by other means, possibly a Reaver play. See if he goes ahead and starts that robotics. No, first an observatory is going to come out. And he will not be building an immediate shuttle either. So focusing on production, getting his probe count up, his dragoons out, and getting this observer on the field to start to get vision as well will be his main priorities. Speed, nothing out of the ordinary so far. When Speed really starts to shine is when he gets his first few vultures out on the field. Looks to begin harassing and just preventing expansions. That was one thing we didn't see last game. Was in some of our other matches with Flash, we've seen Flash just denying, especially against Rich, denying the third base over and over and over again. He does such a good job of slowing down that third. But in that last game, he saw the opportunity to dive in and utilize that first vulture to just get some probe kills, and he went for that instead. Makes sense here, though. Speed has actually gone for a very defensive build, getting siege mode super early on, and then directly into 2 Goliaths, and then Charon booster, which, I mean, it's fine, but it's not going to give him any options to harass. No aggression going to be coming out of Speed for quite some time. He will throw down some more factories, going up to 5 factories immediately. This doesn't necessarily mean he's going to push right away, but there's a chance. There's also the option to take a 3rd base off of this. He's going to utilize the Goliaths for the anti-air until this engineering bay is done. 2 Goliaths in the natural, 2 Goliaths in the main. We don't have a Reaver out just yet, so it's good that he's skipping on air defenses for the moment, just having only these 4 units and no turrets. Is actually great for great for Speed at this time, and he's gonna actually be able to snipe down some observers as well. This is awesome. Awesome stuff for Speed, sniping down that observer. Now he's gonna get his engineering bay finished, and once he gets a turret ring established, then he will be able to move out. He'll have that option at least. I'm not sure he's actually going to move out just yet, but the possibility is there. 2 Reavers on the way from that robotics. Looking for another observer. Hasn't been able to find it yet. It's just over top of this corner. Watching out and keeping tabs on everything. Tank count is rising. There's no 6th factory just yet. Are we going to see a command center soon? +1 is now done. +1 armor on the way. And finally, vultures are coming out. They still don't have their speed, though. And it will just be finishing up in a moment. But this is a very late vulture harassment from speed. This is way later than we would usually see. And already there are Reavers ready to defend this, to push this away. And so he's not going to get much purchase on the map. He's not going to get a whole lot of vision aside from these 2 lanes. This being this lane here and this lane, but every other lane is completely wide open. Up at the top side as well, that highest lane could be used as a counterattack path to get around towards this 3rd and maybe down into the natural. For now, speed not going to worry about that though. Instead, his main concern, I think, grabbing this 3rd base. 9 minute, just about 10 minutes in is a pretty decent timing on this base. And in fact, he's not going to do that. He's pushing around the bottom side. There is an observer tracking this army, and oh, nice mine connection there. Gonna deal some damage to these dragoons. There's not really much over at the natural. Some tanks are going to get sieged up, but dropping on top of this and potentially busting it is our Protoss player, PARALYZE. He's getting in here doing a lot of damage, and look, speed is turning his army around, but it's a little bit too late, I think. This is a great move by PARALYZE. Just getting in there the moment that things, that his stuff started to move. Runs right up into the main. Oh my goodness. So much damage there. Oh my gosh. 6 HP on that shuttle. Very frustrating stuff. Only 2 hits from a Marine would end up killing that. Now it's 3 hits, but you know what I mean. Gonna move through the middle of the map now. Shoving directly towards the Protoss space. No longer interested in moving around this bottom side. Speed is gonna go for the throat. 49 workers. He's lost quite a bit. And he doesn't have much behind this. He's not even gone for the 6 factories, which is kind of surprising. He is getting a science facility though. Oh my gosh, jumping right on top of this. Zealots are gonna drop out everywhere. The 2 Reavers get targeted down. Very nicely done there for speed. And the unsiege as well, gonna save some of these tanks' lives. Is he gonna start a 3rd base now? He's definitely planning to start. Okay, there's the 3rd. He must be planning to start the +2 upgrade in a moment. He must have forgotten about it. Okay, there it is. +2 is on the way now. It was a little bit slowed down, but a lot was going on. Fight is definitely more important than just starting that upgrade. And so he's going to back away from this area for now, leaving 1 tank and some mines to hopefully hold that spot. But where will he head to next? And where is he going to take this 3rd? I imagine it'll be in this spot, but it could also be over to the top right. Oh, connection has been lost. Uh-oh. That's okay. Not a big deal. CC gonna fly over here to the center right now. And he is gonna find position for a bunch of these mines, placing them at the top of this base and moving his tank for south. Looks like he wants to push along this pathway once again, but look at this. PARALYZE has found the way back into the natural again. This time he's just going to drop the Zealots right on top of the mines. Oh, great juggle there. Keeping that Reaver alive. And he's just going to go straight in for the counter. Does lose the shuttle, but the Reaver gets a great shot there at the end, dealing a huge amount of damage. And oh my gosh, a mine connection there on these SCVs as well. Now just 43 overall SCVs. That is brutal. Fortunately, at least for speed, he is going to be able to hold on to that base at center right. Sniping some of these Templar as well, getting some great value out of these vultures, which are kind of trapped at the moment. Maybe the mines can connect though. Nice mine connect there. Every time he's tried to move out in this way, he's been countered, but this time it looks like we're not going to have the same result. Paralyze is not ready for the counter, but will he be ready for this push that's coming his direction? That is quite a lot of tanks. They'll have to be set up very well to battle with this large army that Paralyze is putting together. He's got 40 supply, more than his opponent. Setting up mines right there would be absolutely fantastic, because this push is about to occur. Diving in now with the shuttle, gonna drop a Reaver, 2 Reavers in fact, on top of this. Second Reaver is out, and it's gonna start to deal a lot of damage very soon. Tanks and vultures making their way into the bottom left-hand corner. This defense is looking pretty decent. Looks like all the SCVs will be pulled out of the base. Try and keep them alive. Unsieging and looking to fight these Zealots. Backing away slowly is speed. But here comes the storms. Oh, the storm. He just barely manages to dodge that. Meanwhile, this CC is going to end up going down. CC is going to end up falling. And the push is now, I think, on a one-way trip. We're not going back with this. We actually need to do a lot of damage. We need to kill multiple bases with this army. There's not really much to return home to. He may want to take a base over at this location now. Maybe bottom center might be a better choice. Meanwhile, going to be jumping on top of this Reaver. Finally getting rid of that. Speed needs to move northward and actually kill this other base as well, because Paralyze is now mining on 4 bases where Speed is hardly mining on 2. His main and natural about to run dry. 39 workers remain. This actually will return home. I'm kind of shocked about that. I thought he would for sure continue on and try to kill this base, but looks like he wants to try a different angle, maybe go through the middle of the map, perhaps. It's just coming across these bridges with storms available for the Protoss is so dirty. It hurts so much. Maybe you can push along this way and come up to this position. I don't know about this. Speed is actually going to go around and set up behind the mineral patches over at this base. Try to shut down the mining from this location. And so far he's doing a good job. These bases are running out as well. And pretty soon Paralyze will be stuck on 1 base. You're gonna have to come across this bridge and try to hit this tank force in a defensive position, which will not be easy in order to break this push. That's a lot of shuttles though. They're gonna drop right on top of all of this. So many Zealots go down onto the ground and just rip these tanks apart. Great storms as well. Absolutely excellent storms. Zealots here clearing out the last few tanks, and the probes will get back to mining. Speed on the ropes. It was a pretty reasonable maneuver decision from him to go ahead and push into the back of these minerals and force the Protoss to engage with him. But it might be a bit too little too late. It feels that Paralyze has been in control for too long in this game. The counterattacks have been so deadly. And now this rally of Zealots coming across is insane. That's so many Zealots coming up. They'll definitely be able to take out these tanks, no question in my mind. Meanwhile, some vultures doing a little bit of harassment, light harassment at that base. But all these SCVs are going to end up going down. The command center as well. Speed is just about out of time in this game, but he's struggling to do whatever he can to find a way back. Just, I don't see how he's going to be able to make it happen. There's just so many zealots, and the rallies are coming across the map non-stop for Paralyze. He's not missing a macro cycle, and GG is called. Wow. Paralyze taking down Speed with ease in this game. That is crazy. It really did feel like Speed's build was maybe too defensive. He had no ability to get out and harass Paralyze at all in the early game, and that's really where Flash found his victory, getting some early damage and then with the follow-up push, making it happen. But Speed went a little bit more middle of the road, right? He went ahead and got his starport and science facility right around the time he was taking his third base, before he was taking his third base on 5 factories. So didn't really have the bulk of army to properly engage with this Protoss player. A lot of Terrans these days are much more vigilant and waiting for their third base to come online before committing to further upgrades. But Speed was a little bit too quick in that regard. He also, of course, fell victim to those counterattacks, which were absolutely devastating over and over again. Paralyze just getting in there, finding a way to crack open the Terran. And that is true. Right as the army moves out, it's the perfect time to dive into the natural. The next round of units isn't going to be for some time, and just units popping out of factories is not going to be able to hold a full Protoss army. So forcing everything to turn around and come back, Paralyze takes this game away, giving a much better performance than he did against Flash. This was also a much different game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. How do you feel that Flash and Speed match up at this current point in 2025? I am looking forward to a TVT between these two guys someday in the future. If they ever meet on the ladder, you know that I'll be the first to cast that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you tomorrow.